Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back with another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. You guys, this episode gave me a little bit of life. I'm gonna be honest. It was actually one of the better episodes, in my opinion, since like the first couple episodes. I enjoyed this episode, and I know it mainly had to deal with Bob. Bob is funny TV. He irks me, but he's funny TV. Okay, so we begin the episode seeing Cynthia tell, why I want to say Marlo. We begin this episode seeing Cynthia tell Kenya, okay, that's her name, Kenya, that her divorce is final. And it's so interesting to me that Cynthia's divorce happened after Kenya's, and Kenya's still trying to go through her divorce, to the point where Cynthia even said in her confessional, like, hurry this up already, Kenya. I was able to get married and get divorced in the time that you've been working on your divorce. To be clear, 50 Cent, you don't have any strong connections to Mike. Y'all didn't have any children together. So I'm assuming that that may be delaying things, but at this point it is drawn out, and I'm tired of hearing about your divorce, Kenya. So she's right, get your divorce. We see a clip of Sheree, and she's talking to Cairo and Cairo's mom about doing a nursery for Mecca upstairs in the house. And I think that's smart, because if she's always over there and you have all those rooms, why not utilize it? Now, the manor. Wait, is Sheree the manor? I be getting her and Kenya's houses mixed up. Sheree's home, one thing I will say, even though it took a long time to do, her home is beautiful. Very beautiful. So I utilize those rooms, Sheree. We see Marlo with her life coach. We see Candy and Drew filming for the past. And as they're filming, Todd is speaking of Drew's acting abilities and how great she is. And that just goes to show that despite what they're going through currently with Drew, that they can all be professionals when the time comes. We see Sanya and Ross visiting Dr. Jackie to get confirmation that she is definitely pregnant. Dr. Jackie is awesome, man. If you have ever seen her on Married to Medicine, one thing I love about her is she really is relatable, and she really breaks down things when it comes to women. Let me pause and express the importance of minorities, especially really researching their doctors, because we don't get the same type of care, unfortunately. A lot of times when it comes to the medical field, they've done tons of studies to show how minorities tend to have more mortality rates, especially when it comes to pregnancy, because of the healthcare that we receive. And it just so happens that as I was typing that Dr. Jackie mentioned it. And she also talked about the fact that Sanya, is her name Sanya or Sanya? Y'all, every time I say I'm going to say her name right, I don't, because I confuse it with my aunt's name. But her and Ross are talking to Dr. Jackie, and she makes it known, like, you're considered to be geriatric because after age 35 in women, that it's considered to be a geriatric pregnancy, and as a result she's gonna want to look at her more closely, and she's gonna do some genetic testing and all that other stuff. Basically, they can find out as early as 10 weeks if there's any abnormalities, as well as what the gender of the baby is. Technology has really come a long way. We get back to the filming of the past in Candy's house, and Candy and Todd are talking in confessionals about the things that go on, and Candy basically says, like, Todd is a Leo, which I'm a Leo too. Don't come for us Leos. And he needs to have control. And as a result, she picks her battle. So unless it's something that she really doesn't agree about, she lets him do his thing. I will say, I understand that you guys are trying to, make money off of this movie, and that it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to film in a location that you don't have to pay for, but I wouldn't want you filming in my house, yo. It's something about having all those different people come in and out, and the energy, and I am very particular about who I invite into my space. So I'm with Candy when she says, like, she just wished they didn't have to film it at the house, which makes me wonder, why didn't you film it at your guest house? Is your guest house like just a storage facility? Because if y'all remember, Candy bought the house that she's in as well as the house to the side. Y'all, excuse me, I'm having sinus issues. As well as the house to the side. So with that being said, why did they film in in that house? I don't know. Yeah. We find out that this is a true production, okay? Because Drew talks about how she has a trailer, how there's an intimacy coach. Well, Candy brings up there's an intimacy coach on set. They've been paid. She says she got a nice coin from it. So this is a true production. Candy and Todd said, we're going to pay you off for your services, and it's going to be tight, but we're going to make it work. And I love that for them. He probably was able to pay them more because they decided to do things like film at their house. So I'm talking junk about it, but I also get it. Drew then talks about how she's excited about the intimacy coach because it's challenging to do this with a woman. Now, Drew, you are really trying to make us feel like you haven't done anything with the woman. And at this point, you're the one who's giving it legs, and you're the one who continues to talk about it like it's a big deal. We don't care. We then see Monyetta arrive because Monyetta is a lawyer in this movie, The Past. And they talk about the whole Courtney thing. And Monyetta decides to take this time to show the clip, because they record everything apparently, of Drew being called a female dog by Courtney right before she's about to film a scene. Now, the clip, I saw what was said, and she did say this be whatever. But like Candy said, we don't know if she was talking about Drew or if she was talking about Sanya, about the Rosses. We don't know which one she was talking about. So the clip just really just shows that Courtney lied, and Courtney does say the B word, which we already know Courtney says the B word because she said the B word at the table. Okay. We see that Drew is doing well in her scene. Drew is talking about all the technicalities that she didn't know about, like the sound man and the camera crew. And Drew, this is not your first gig. You knew all this was going to be there. I've heard multiple people say how even though these scenes appear to be very intimate, and by multiple people I'm talking about various actors, when you watch like behind the scenes and stuff, that how it's really not as intimate as it appears because there's a full-on production right there while you guys are doing these scenes. We see Sheree at her house where she's discussing all this over-the-top stuff that she wants to do for the Sip and See. And Sheree, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. The problem with Sheree is that Sheree does not use her money wisely. You are over here with a struggling website, struggling designs, have not produced the things that we've seen on your runway, have not given us the She by Sheree that we really want, overcharging for the Shein, Amazon, Walmart stuff that you're getting. And instead of investing in your business, you're spending thousands of dollars on Sip and Sees. Your priorities are just jacked up. We then see Marlo having an event for her foster care Fridays, where it's dinner and she's basically honoring successful people. Very similar to what we saw Mrs. Ross do with her Mommy Nation, where she gave out different awards and stuff. But I get it. It was cute. I do like to see this side more. I found it to be very interesting that one of the guys who received an award had been in over 30 foster cares. Can you imagine what that has to feel like, being uprooted so many times? I'm getting a little, ooh. I feel like Marlo has something with this foster care stuff. And even though Marlo gets on my nerves, that if she stays in this lane and really works with other nonprofits about bringing more awareness and getting resources to them and all these other things, that this could be a really good look for Marlo. So Marlo, even though I know you're not watching me, if you want to revamp yourself, I'm telling you, girl, this is the way to go, because you've experienced it and it's something that is still currently a problem. There's a gap there. So if you go this route, it's going to be great. Courtney and them talk about how Sheree might not make it because she's doing tasting for the Sip and See, and Marlo talks about how important showing up is for her, so she gets a little, sad about it, but it's okay because Sheree makes it, even though she comes in really, really late. Marlo says she don't care if it's only 30 minutes that she shows up for. The point is that she was there. We see Scott Lee show up too in his blue, and I gotta be honest, I don't know how true this Marlo Scott Lee thing is, but they look really good together. They do. He compliments her well, and I actually want to see more of that, even though right now I think it's fake. Because in the past, Marlo has been all about money. And even though he is very successful, there's levels to the money. And we see like the type of things Marlo wears and what she does. And a restaurant owner, well, I can't say what a restaurant owner is going to make. I don't think he has money like that to just divvy out. We arrive at Sheree's event, and I gotta be honest, y'all, it looked really nice, but it also looked tacky to me. The flowers with the balloons and the amount of flowers and I just feel like in the space that it was in and the way it looked outside with I just feel like sometimes less is more. I get the concept that they were going for, but it just, to me, it was a bit much. I ain't like it. It was pretty, but I didn't like it. I know that does that make sense? It was pretty, but I didn't like it. It was pretty. I love the teddy bears. I love the balloons. I just felt like it was just so much. Like, it was so much. And it's a Sip and See. Okay. You guys. I'm saying you guys a lot. I drink my tea. It's so hard to look at Sheree's face in this confessional. Sheree, don't ever film a confessional again until your face has settled. And I hope your face has settled. Like, you don't look anything like yourself. And like, every time I see you in the confessional talking, it hurts me. Because you were a beautiful woman, and you're still pretty. It's just your nose is your nose, and your nose is there for a reason. Look at my face. You see my nose? Can you imagine this nose looking like this? Because I did work and I got stuff taken off. I'd look crazy. So I feel like that's how, Sheree, you're looking a little crazy, but hopefully it fixes. We find out that at this point, they're at $200 a plate. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He said, no, I think you're actually over that. We get back to Drew in her trailer working with the on-set assistant for Drew. Once again, come on, production, you have an on-set assistant for Drew? Not only that, let's talk about this trailer. The trailer was nice. Like, Drew didn't even have to go home if she didn't want to, the way that trailer looked. It had a bed in it and everything. It was Candy and Todd. Y'all go ahead. She was basically complaining, saying that she's never filmed this many scenes in a day, and that from now on, she's just going to be sticking to like Lifetime and Up movies. Drew, at that table, when you all sat there, Todd let you all know that it was going to be an extreme time crunch. He let you guys know that he's only filming in these 10 days, and he needed you guys to come with your A game. So why are you surprised? Even if you haven't done this before, their budget is their budget. And I'm sure you knew what you were going to sign up for, because one thing about Candy and Ty is that they're going to get those contracts right. Ralph comes to see her, and they sit down and talk, and she's saying basically how similar this character is to her. And he automatically brings up, out of all the things that she talks about with this character, he says the lesbian part. He then begins to ask all these questions about the kissing scenes and if she was munching on stuff. And I at first was like, Ralph, did you not run the script with her? You're not supportive at all? Like, she didn't read lines to you and you piggybacked off of her that you didn't need this? And then I got uncomfortable because the way he was asking the questions, he was playing in her face. It was just team too much. If you're going to support her, support her. Back to the sip and see. We see the different ladies arrive as well as Bob. We find out that all the ladies are going to be there with the exception of Marlo, because Marlo has a funeral that she has to attend of a close friend. Despite Bob not being there for his kids, according to Sheree, he is there for Mecca. Like, this is his first grandchild, and he's all about Mecca, and she loves that. Bob, when Bob speaks sometimes, I don't know if Bob is being a clown like this for the show or if Bob is really a clown. Bob was an offensive tackle. But for some reason, I feel like there's been a little bit of brain damage there. But that position, I don't think you got to worry about a concussion. I don't know. Anyways, that's what he was, and something seems off to me. Martell arrives at the same time, at least that's what production makes it seem, as Bob is standing there to take a picture with Sheree, and he's joking around like, where should I put my hands or whatever else. Martell is wearing pink, like the rest of the family, and as he embraces Sheree, she says, what took you so long? And he said in a low voice, 5 kids. And this is why I have a problem with production. You have this man who had a real divorce play out in some ways on television, who we know has 4 children by his wife and another children by his mistress of 5 years. And we don't know what any of this looks like via Real Housewives. Now, I understand that because he's on a different show and a different network, that we're not going to be privy to a lot of things when it comes to him. However, what did his release look like? Because Carlos King, whomever, he was released to be able to be on this show. So if Martell were really smart, what Martell would do is Martell and Sheree would show more of what really goes on instead of this fabricated fake relationship, because the drama that they had on that show with all of that and the drama that we've seen on social media should have been shown on The Real Housewives, because it would have given this even more layers. Okay? Cairo is talking to his mom, telling her thank you. She's a little over the top. Didn't I tell you not to go crazy? But he's appreciative of the sip and see. We find out that the party started officially at 4 o'clock. And Kandi said that she arrived late on purpose. We see Drew arriving because we don't know exactly what time, but we know at 5:45 she was on the phone with Kandi saying that she's not coming in because there's a man there that assaulted her. Now, Drew lies about a lot of things, but I believe this to be true because the guy, I believe his name was Anthony, that we see a little bit later, clearly was doing too much even in filming this scene. So I can only imagine what he was like in the club with Drew. Kandi and Mongetta go outside to talk to her. And she says that despite Sheree knowing about the issues that she has with their former assistant, that Sheree invited him anyway, and she just doesn't understand what type of friend would do that. Drew left. Good for you, Drew. You should have left, because I don't think Sheree was trying to start a scene at the baby's sip and see per se, but what was the purpose of him being there? Okay, it is now 6:15 and we still haven't seen the baby. I would have left. I would have left. We still haven't seen the baby. The ladies sit down into another area. Sheree lets us know that she invited Anthony because Anthony is who made the connection with her and Martell. That's weird to me because on Martell's show, Martell seems to be very uncomfortable with men like Anthony. And I say that because his ex-wife's brother is married to a man, and he has an issue with two men watching his kids. So how are these two in the same circle? How do these two even run into each other? Martell isn't from Atlanta. So how would they even be in the same circle? That just seems like a reach to me. I think you invited him, as I said, because you wanted Drew to be uncomfortable. In Portugal, what did you say? When Drew was saying what she said about why would you do that? Why would you bring that up? Whatever. You said, how does it feel? So I think you wanted her to have another how does it feel moment. Kandi is telling Sheree, like, Drew was outside, but she's saying that she didn't come in, she left because you invited you guys' old assistant. And as she's saying that, he proceeds to say, ain't nobody worried about Drew's wide ass. He talks about her marriage and her edges. And that energy that he gave when he said it, it was, believe, if you didn't watch, it wasn't calm. It was, ain't nobody worried about. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Tisha. I am very particular about the way people speak to me. And the way that he was speaking when Kandi was speaking to Sheree allows me to know that there definitely would have been a scene made at that event because it was team too much. And Sheree gonna say, I thought you guys were good, whatever, whatever. Sheree, you knew that they weren't good. And you've been around him enough to know the type of person he is, because the way that he came into the party, it seemed like he was on go. He said he threw his shoe at her because she threw her bag at him. I don't know what the situation is. Either way, you didn't need both of those parties there at the same time. And seeing as to how you are filming for the show and you had plenty of people in the building, we could have done without the assistant. Candy says that he's clearly starting the BS, and I agree with Candy. Martell is in the same vicinity as Kenya. He reaches out to shake her hand. She shakes her hand back, asks if she can have a small conversation with him. He says no, but they have the conversation anyway. She talks. She basically is apologizing without saying she's apologizing. He apologizes, and then he asks her if she's gonna apologize. She apologizes for how he making him feel, if she made him feel anyway, which is really not. If you ever apologize to me and say I'm sorry if I made you feel, then you don't really mean that apology, can you? But whatever. She basically said like she felt uncomfortable as a guy the way that he approached her. She didn't have a man beside her, and Sheree did a digging confessionals with that terrible face. You can't be talking about anybody when you do stuff like that to your face. But she made a digging confessionals saying like she never has a man beside her. I even wrote up here, good Lord, Sheree looks horrible in confessionals. Horrible. They hug each other, end scene. Mecca finally comes out. And as she comes out, the photographers are there, and she is being revealed by the grandma herself. Not the parents, but the grandma. The grandma is pushing the carriage baby. And Mecca has been waiting so long for her reveal that at this point we know it is at least after 6, even though the party started at 4. And she is tired, baby. She has that pacifier in her mouth. Her eyes are going down. She looked real cute, though. The baby looked cute. The carriage was cute. That part I did like. I thought that was cute. But COVID is real, and you got all these people in your baby's face. But okay. I'm going to leave it alone. They then do a family picture with all of the children, including the one that Sheree did not know about. And this is when it gets good to me. We hear all this talk about this woman that is in the photo, that Bob pulled in the photo, that is standing in front of Bob. And is that his girl? Is that another kid? All these other things. Because Sheree thinks that this is his girlfriend, Sheree asks Martell to come in the picture, in the family picture, where this man who is not your boyfriend, who calls you friend girl on his show, is now in the family picture that you're going to have for all time. So are you going to crop him out? Because he's clearly doing his own thing elsewhere. You going to crop him out? So she wanted to be shady too. So she pulled him in the picture. We then see the ladies talking about it. She's like, introduce me to, I can't remember her name. Introduce me to, this young lady. And we hear Bob say, this is my daughter. And Sheree was in shock. Sheree didn't know that he had another child. And she's like, okay, so where do you fall? And she goes, I'm right after Lanice. What a way to find out. She also says, the daughter tells her, that I've been around, Cairo, and I think her name is Kaylee. I've been around, your other kids, and we've been getting along well. I've been going to family events and all of these things, basically letting it be known that your kids have met her. So your kids have been made aware that you have a sibling, that Sheree, your ex-husband, has another child, and they did not tell you. Now they're adults. So I'm not gonna come down too hard, but at the same time, like, y'all didn't tell your mama that there's another kid out there. Come on now. I would have told my mama. I would have told my dad. I would have said whatever. You're in your 20 somethings. It's okay for you to tell on your parents. Bob proceeds to come around the corner, and Candy's like, yeah, we're talking about you. And they get to asking questions, and they basically say, like, who is that? Says it's my daughter. Says the reason why he didn't tell Sheree, because it was on a need-to-know basis at that time. Bob is petty. You bring your daughter to an event and Sheree didn't even know about her. Like, you could have had a common courtesy at some point, especially if Sheree's saying that you guys are cool and y'all are cordial, that you should have told her. Bob continues to play in Sheree's face after all these years. And Kenya says in confessional, like, I knew Bob while he was married to Sheree. I didn't know he was married to Sheree because he was seeing one of my friends. So Bob has always been a whore. So Candy says we had a daughter revealed at the baby reveal. So basically, we revealing your grandchild and your daughter. Bob said he didn't need this to be the Inquisition, and he made a joke about wait till y'all see the twins, and he left. One thing I can say about it, though, is Sheree handled herself very well once she found out. She didn't give into it too much. She didn't get an attitude. She continued to just do what she does. And Sheree, I'll give you credit for that. Overall, this was a decent episode. But next week is the finale. How? What has happened to the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Baby girl, what is going on? Baby boy, what are we doing? I don't quite understand how we're done. How are we done? How are we done? The season was dry. How are we done? I'm gonna look, but I could have sworn that there used to be more episodes than this. What is going on? Well, maybe I'm thinking of reunions, because now we're getting 2 and 3 part reunions. Anyways, overall, this episode was good. I enjoyed it more than I did some of the others. I think that I still want to revamp, though. I know that for a fact. Let me know down below your opinions. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 followers. That sounds so low, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got really excited because I was on YouTube and there's this girl that I watch, this woman that I watch from time to time, and I'm gonna butcher her name, but her YouTube name, but her name is Shayna. And she had wrote like a little post, just saying some of her favorite YouTubers, and she added the one and only T. And that's me. And I was shocked because I never considered myself to be a YouTuber. I was like, you know what? That was really sweet of her. So, Shayna, if you're watching, thank you so much. It meant so much to little old me to see that, because when I saw the names, I was like, okay, I'm going to go watch some of these people. And then I saw my name and I said, me. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. Okay, guys, until next time.